Have you ever done something, whether it's either been at work or for fun, and the time has gone like really quickly and you're like, whoa, where did all that time go? Well, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about a book that I just recently read called Flow. And this really kind of sums up how to really get into what they call this flow state, and where time goes very quickly. And I'm going to show you and share with you some tips on how you can bring this into your real estate business, how you can bring this into your YouTube channel for maximum success. Hi, Steve Thomas here with Video Marketing Coach. So flow, right? Have you ever been in that moment, whether it's been at a sporting event and you've been completely blocked in and focused? Maybe it's been at a music concert and you've just been in this moment of enjoyment for, 2 hours, but it feels like you've been there for 20 minutes, right? There are different levels and elements to flow. But in today's video, I want to kind of summarize the tips that I read in Mihaly's book on flow, in how you can really bring these elements into your day-to-day life and your working environment so that you can really be primed for optimal success. All right, tip number one is to set clear goals and challenges. And I think that if you aren't able to start, every single day, let's say, for example, with a to-do list, then you're not setting yourself clear goals and challenges, for that day. Because let's face it, it's great to have all of these really big goals and big objectives, but to reach those big goals and big objectives, it requires work, and it requires daily work. So if you're not focusing on what you're doing every single minute, every single hour of every day, then, we're never really going to get to that point. So set clear goals and objectives and challenges for yourself. One tip that I will give you, that I actually did a whole video on, is actually how to break down your to-do list at the beginning of the day so that you don't get so overwhelmed. And I'm not going to talk about that now, but there'll be a link to it in this video. So go ahead and watch that if you want to be able to get some more organization in your day, and you want to really learn how to be able to get into the flow at the very beginning. Tip number two is finding the right balance. Now, I absolutely love this. Flow occurs when the difficulty of a task aligns with your skill level. So what that means is try and continually push yourself. Do try and continually master certain challenges, but don't try and do it all at once, right? Be patient with yourself, learn a task, master it, then you'll enter that flow stage, then you can move on. And by gradually increasing the difficulty and complexity of your skill tasks, you'll be able to continually stay in that flow zone and experience continued growth. Tip number three is eliminating distractions and creating focus. Distractions can disrupt your flow state and hinder productivity. It's really important to design a workspace, right, that is conducive for your environment and what you're trying to do. And generally, if we are working, in a messy environment, like that's not going to be productive to be able to get in a flow state if we are stressed and anxious about the environment around us. Likewise with, for example, in our digital space as well. I'm one of the worst people at this. My desktop is always a complete mess, but it gets to the point where I have so much anxiety I need to clean it up. But don't be like me. Stay on top of that sort of stuff so that you don't get anxiety, that you can remain in that flow state for as long as possible. Something else that I've found to really help with distractions is actually creating and using time blockers, and blockers for like your social media, for example. So in time blocking, I will spend, a certain amount of time in a certain area, a certain subject, and then I'm going to move on. With, for example, social media, I know we've got our phones on us, and often our phones are our computers these days, and it can be so easy to go on Facebook or Instagram and you're swiping and you're looking around. Well, what I've put on my phone now is a limiter. And every single day it gives me a limited amount of time that I can use social media for. And then once I've used that, it blocks off. That has been like a very good use case for myself. And hopefully that can be a good one for you. Tip number four is cultivate mindfulness and enjoyment. Mindfulness and being present is actually a key part of flow. And how I've been able to tap into being present and train myself to be present is actually through meditation. I'm not one of those like woo-woo type people, right? So I just want to kind of preface that for you. But how it's helped me is with somebody that's got ADHD and their mind is constantly running. I'm thinking about the next thing. I've got a million ideas going on at once. When you have that ability, or that ability to be distracted, you really need to kind of be able to quieten the mind. Because when you're able to then quieten the mind, that's when you're able to get into the flow process. And before I started meditating, I didn't even realize that there was a background chatter in the mind. And you might be watching this now and thinking, what the heck am I talking about? Because you may be experiencing the same thing. But we've all got this dialogue that's running constantly through our minds every single day, right? We're being critical of ourselves. Who do I think I am? Trying to do that. I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too ugly, I'm bald, whatever it might be, right? You're criticizing other people. We've got this ongoing dialogue and narrative throughout the day. And for me, I was sometimes having like multiple narratives going on at any one time. And I just thought that was how everybody lived until I actually started meditating and trying to learn to quieten the mind. And I have to tell you, it was very, very difficult. When I first tried to sit with my eyes closed, not moving for 20 minutes, body was twitching. There was like physiological reactions that were happening inside of my body because of the state essentially that my energy was at and where my mind was. So now becoming aware of that and becoming conscientious that that is something that I need to work on within myself, I'm now be able to be present and pick up on the times in my life when I've got that background chatter, when I've got that negative dialogue, when I have that, what I call drunk monkey, that voice in your head that's telling you things that you shouldn't be doing or you don't want to hear, right? Just not really doing you any favors, right? We all have that, but it's now easier to say, okay, that's just a thought. This is just a whatever, and then back to the task at hand. Helps you stay in flow, helps you have more peace of mind, helps you understand everything a lot more clearly. So these are my tips for you from the book of Flow by Mihaly. Not going to pronounce his last name, I'm going to butcher it for you, but he did a really great job. I highly recommend reading it. You can use these tips in your real estate business, you can use them in your video production on YouTube, you can use them just generally in your day-to-day lives, right? And hopefully you've got some value from this. If you need some help in your video marketing business or your real estate business and utilizing video marketing, we would love to help at Video Marketing Coach. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, I really appreciate it if you do so. But for now, thank you so much, Sean. I'll see you again.